I'm Ken Whiting, and this week on Facing Waves, I'm in Dominica, and we are exploring the Waitukubuli Sea Trail with Soufriere Outdoor Center. Often referred to as the Nature Island, Dominica is considered one of the best kept secrets in the Caribbean, which I can't argue with because I knew almost nothing about Dominica before my trip. What I learned is that Dominica is one of the most rugged, dramatic, friendly, and untouched places in the world. The mountainous countryside is covered with lush rainforest, spectacular waterfalls, and peaks as high as 4,700 feet. And even though the island nation is only 29 miles long and 16 miles wide, it's home to over 300 miles of hiking trails and 365 flowing rivers. The coastline is equally impressive and dramatic, and it boasts world-class scuba diving, snorkeling, and fishing. But that's not why I came to Dominica. I came to experience the Caribbean's first sea kayaking trail, the Waitukubuli Sea Trail. What I discovered was one of the most breathtaking places in the world. My name's Ken Whiting, and for over 30 years, my life has been guided by the paddle in my hand. This is my search for the world's most spectacular paddling destinations. This is Facing Waves. I am in the small town of Soufriere in the southwestern corner of Dominica, and I'm about to hook up with Wes and Carrie from Soufriere Outdoor Center, who really spearheaded the whole Waitukubuli Sea Trail with the Dominican Ministry of Tourism. And we're about to explore a section of the Sea Trail in track kayaks. I can't wait, and it's time to hook up with them. Hello, Wes.
Hey, morning, Ken.
Good to finally meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you too. Welcome to Soufriere Bay.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah, it's lovely, huh? That's Scott's Head in the distance, and we're on the Caribbean Sea right now.
We're gonna launch from here today.
Yep. We're gonna do segment 2 of the Waitukubuli Sea Trail. We're headed that way, but let's go check out the map over at the Kayak Center.
Sounds good.
All right. Here's the Kayak Center. We'll be going right up this coast in Soufriere Bay on the Caribbean seaside. We'll pass La Saucier, La Bim, past Point Guinard to Champagne Reef. That's where we have the geothermal activity, and the volcano is venting, so you have sulfur bubbles coming up. So you'll be snorkeling through the champagne bubbles. Afterwards, we'll circle back for a nice Dominican cookout with roast fish, roast breadfruit, roast plantain. Yeah, I hope you can paddle back after all that food.
Yeah. This thing blows me away every time I do it. From a golf bag to a 16-foot sea kayak in 15 minutes. I mean, how cool is that? And on top of that, I don't have to go do a warm-up because I am warmed up already. But that's okay, because we're going to hit the water right now. Well, we've got some interesting conditions. We got cloud, then sun, and then we got rain. We got a whole mix. The wind's blowing a bit, but we're pretty sheltered here by the mountains of the island. It's gonna be a mixed bag today, but it doesn't really matter. This is my first time, well, paddling in Dominica, but also doing this section. And anytime you do a section for the first time, it's the most magical experience. I can't wait to see what's around that corner.
Sufair Outdoor Center was really conceptualized by myself and Carrie Elaine, my business partner.
I was told that there was an individual that was very, very fascinated by kayaks and kayaking, and I was like, that sounds like me. So I met with Wes, and he had this big idea that we could circumnavigate Dominica. At first, I thought it was crazy, but then I'm thinking, man, I've been looking for this moment for my entire life.
Every time we went out, we said, wouldn't this be a great tour? This just gives us fitness, it gives us peace of mind, well-being. We wanted to share it with others, so we conceptualized having the outdoor center in Soufriere that could make money off the tourists, but also be accessible to the locals as well. Dominica is uniquely positioned. We have the calm Caribbean side for beginners, and we have the Atlantic side for the intermediate and advanced paddlers. So we really have something to offer for all of the paddlers.
Facing Waves is brought to you in part by NRS, empowering adventures on the water since 1972. Outdoor Play, where adventure begins. Paddle TV, the #1 paddling channel on YouTube.
So does this section have a name?
It's called La Sorcière.
Oh,
This
wow.
means the Witch's Point. It's also one of the dive sites in the Marine Reserve. La Sorcière is definitely one of the highlights in this segment. It's one of the most beautiful dive sites as well. If you're scuba diving or snorkeling, you could definitely do that there.
And I think you were saying here it drops.
It definitely does. The continuation from La Bim is still the edge of that crater that goes all the way to Champagne.
I spearheaded the development of the Waitukubuli Sea Trail for several reasons. I love kayaking and I love expeditions, but I also prefer staying in accommodations over camping. And so when I saw the coast of Dominica, I said, this is ideal. This is perfect. You can kayak the whole way, you can stay in accommodations, you can do beautiful land excursions. And I thought, this is something I would travel and go do. Dominica has the only through hiking trail, the Waitukubuli National Trail, which is 14 segments. And I said, wouldn't it be amazing to establish the first marine trail with 14 segments as well? The sea trail starts in the south of Dominica in the Martinique Channel, and it goes all the way north to the Guadeloupe Channel. I originally approached the Discover Dominica Authority and Ministry of Tourism with the idea, and they immediately bought into it.
We're gonna be snorkeling right there. This is where we find the champagne bubbles, geothermal activity, where there's sulfuric gas coming from vents, giving you the appearance that we're snorkeling in a giant glass of champagne.
Sweet.
Don't drink the bubbles.
Don't drink the bubbles.
That's it. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right.
Combining paddling and swimming for me as a whitewater paddler is something that I generally don't do because it usually means you've done something wrong. But in this case, I was dying to get out of the boat and go for a swim. Well, that was pretty awesome.
But the mission is not complete yet. We still, well, we have to re-energize. We only have a short paddle back to one of the beaches we passed where we're gonna have a little cookout and put some energy back in the system because it's been a busy day, but we're not done. One thing I've learned in the short amount of time I've been here in Dominica is that the weather can change like that. And so you have to be prepared for a quick change. Going around the corner, it was like a switch got flipped and the wind and rain machines were turned on because all of a sudden it was like we were getting pins and needles in the face. The wind and rain was coming at us so hard. And it was literally on the verge of not being worth paddling because you weren't making any headway. When you're in conditions with strong winds and hard rain and choppy waves, you have to make a decision whether it's worthwhile moving forward or do you find shelter and wait it out. Fortunately, we didn't have to go too far before we got to the place where we were having our cookout. And turns out the cookout spot was a perfect place to wait out the storm. Woo. Hey, Brady.
Here you go.
Awesome, thank you. Well, we made it to the cookout spot, and lucky for us, a bunch of the guys from Sioux Frere Outdoor Center came here early, cooked up all the food, and it's ready and waiting for us. How nice is that? Perfect. Perfect timing too, because the weather just rolled in. It's blowing really hard now and raining. But if there's one thing I've learned in the 36 hours I've spent in Dominica, it's that wait 10 or 15 minutes and the weather is likely going to change. So we're going to hunker down in this beautiful spot and wait a little bit before we make the paddle back home.
Facing Waves is brought to you in part by Track Kayaks, the ultimate touring kayak. Aquabound, taking you to a better place. Wiley X, go confidently.
Well, the weather really came in yesterday and it looked pretty threatening this morning, so we hunkered down at where we were staying, the Jungle Bay Resort, which was an amazing place to have to spend some time and hope that the weather cleared up. It has. We don't have that much time left though. It's already the afternoon, and so we're making a mission. We're gonna go to Scott's Head. It's only a couple miles away and get a better look at this whole Sioux Frere area.
Sioux Frere Outdoor Center is an ecotourism business, and we specialize in sea kayaking and snorkeling.
Wes and Carrie didn't just see an opportunity to set up an outfitter business, to provide experiences for tourists, to see one of the most dramatic and fantastic places in the world. They really are doing this as well to involve the local community, to grow the local community, to help the community.
We named the Sioux Frere Outdoor Center after Sioux Frere. because we really wanted to represent the community and involve the community. And to that end, we've tried to make it as accessible. We didn't want this to be another ecotourism business or tourism business that was primarily for the tourists.
I love the fact that Wes and Carrie are getting the local kids involved with paddling and teaching them to be the next generation of kayak guides here. And right out of the gate, I could feel their energy, their love of not just the water, but their discovery of kayaks as this vehicle to experience their backyard. Sea kayaks are different than sit-on-top kayaks. They're not designed to be super stable and hard to flip. They're designed for performance, but the trade-off is that sea kayaks aren't that stable, and if you're not paying attention, you can find yourself upside down. Uh-oh. I'm not sure what Freddie was doing. The water wasn't that rough, but that is the thing about sea kayaking. If you take your eye off the ball, it doesn't take too much to flip a sea kayak.
Come hold on to my boat, yeah?
Freddie swimming was actually a great thing to happen with everyone around because all those young paddlers got to see how Wes was going to deal with this, how Wes and Freddie were going to deal with the situation. And that's an important part of paddling in the sea, is you have to know what to do in those types of situations because inevitably they are going to happen.
You want to do it that way?
All right.
You good?
Yeah.
Facing Waves is brought to you in part by NRS, empowering adventures on the water since 1972. Outdoor Play, home to over 10,000 outdoor products. Paddle TV, the #1 paddling channel on YouTube.
The really neat thing about Scott's Head is it's like this wall, and on our side of that wall is the Caribbean Sea, and it's very sheltered. On the other side of that wall, or that peninsula, is the Atlantic. And so when you come around that corner, boom, all of a sudden, you're in the Atlantic. The wind picks up, the waves pick up, everything picks up. Coming around Scott's Head into the rougher Atlantic environment, it was interesting to see Freddie leading the charge right after he had just swum. For me, that was valuable insight into the kind of person Freddie is. He's game. He loves the water, he's comfortable in the water, and he just wants to play out there. Paddling in the unprotected waters around Scott's Head was really a cool experience for the young guys. For most of them, this is the biggest water they've ever seen, and experiencing that, that's not something you can safely do very often, but doing that with Wes, Carrie, and myself, having that experience there with them, it gave them the confidence to push themselves a little bit. And you could see it on their face. They were nervous, they were excited, they were just lapping it all up. You know, one of the coolest things about sea kayaking is the perspectives you get from the water. And we were paddling close to that shoreline yesterday, and I really didn't fully appreciate how stunning it is. I mean, now I can really see it, and I'll bet you the view from up top is going to be even cooler, so that's where we're going. Tell you what, Carrie, one of the things I'm loving so far is everything seems just pretty pure, pretty raw. Even here, it's not like a highly developed tourism destination by any means.
No, because we always pride ourselves in making sure the island's natural aspect is still kept. And one of the ways that we can do that, and I've seen that we're doing this, is actually taking our time gradually. In terms of development, you don't want to rush things, because when you do that and it's not done properly, you end up having
all sorts of other problems.
All sorts of other problems, that's true. We focus mainly on nature, we focus on culture. These are the foundations for having a very sustainable way to develop tourism on the island.
Wow, what an afternoon of mini adventure. Incredible paddle, incredible view. That's the kind of adventure I love, an unexpected mini adventure. But the adventure is far from done because we're only halfway. We still have to hike back down and paddle back, and the sun's dropping, so we better get to it. Hey everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Facing Waves. If you have and you want to watch more or learn more about paddling, including tips and lots of gear reviews, then join me at in4adventure.com. Hope to see you there.